So now we're going to continue with the Lawson Company. We have prepared the T accounts, and you'll notice that on the T accounts we have numbers at the bottom. We have extra numbers. This is called footing the account. What footing the account does is it gets the account balance for each of these accounts. And the way to find out the account balance in footing the account is you take the debit side of the account, for example, cash. We will add up these four numbers, and we have a debit balance here of $6,675. The next step is to go to the credit side and add up all the numbers on the credit side of the account, and we have a credit total of $1,860. The next step is we subtract this number, 1,860, from 6,675. Well, since we have the number on the debit side is larger, it's going to be a debit balance, and this is our balance of the account, $4,815. Now, that's right because cash is an asset, and an asset has a normal debit balance. We will do that for each of our accounts, but you notice the accounts that only have one entry, for example, supplies, office equipment, truck, accounts payable, truck expense, utilities expense. We don't have to foot those accounts because we can already tell what the balance is because they only have one entry. So the next one we will go to will be Stan Lawson Capital. He only has entries on the credit side, so all you have to do is add up the credit side, and you see he has a credit balance of $11,200. Same thing with revenue, adding up the credits, $675 total. Salaries expense are a normal debit balance, so they have a balance on the debit side of $700. So after you foot the accounts and you get each of the account balances, you'll prepare a trial balance. Now the trial balance is an informal financial statement, and it is prepared on columnar paper like this, a lot like the financial statements we have prepared before. But this is one statement that you prepare before you prepare your financial statements. And the purpose of a trial balance is just to make sure that all of your debits and credits balance. The way to prepare it is, of course, like any kind of financial document, you're going to have the three pieces of information at the top. You have the name of the company, you have the name of the document, and you have the date. Now notice that trial balance only has a date on it, much like the balance sheet, because these are the account balances as of this day. It's not a period of time, it's just a snapshot, so it is just one day. And then the way to prepare it, you're going to list all of the accounts, and they list in a certain order. You notice here, you list your assets first. You have cash, supplies, office equipment, and truck, and then you list your liabilities. The only one we have right now is accounts payable. You will list your capital, Stan Lawson Capital, then you list revenue, and then you list your expense accounts. After you list those, then we're going to come over here and we're going to put the account balances in, and they come from where you footed the accounts up here. Like, for example, cash has a debit balance of $4,815. So for the trial balance, you're going to put it in the debit column, $4,815. And you will do that for each of the accounts. If they have a debit balance, they're going to go in the debit column. And if they have a credit balance, they're going to go in the credit column. You notice that assets have a normal debit balance, so they're here in the debit column. Accounts payable and capital and revenue normally have credit balances, so they are in the credit column. And then your expenses that have normal debit balances are in the debit column. After you finish listing all of your accounts, you add up all of your debits and put the total. Notice the double underline because that shows that that is the final number. Then you list all of your credits and add them up, and then you'll double underline your amount, and notice that your debits and your credits equal. They have to equal. If they don't equal, you've made a mistake somewhere and you need to go back and find where you're off. But also, this shows that your debits and your credits equal, but it may not necessarily be the proper numbers because you may have flip-flopped a debit and a credit, or maybe you made an entry to the wrong account. So, it's not necessarily completely true, but this is a good starting point to make sure that your numbers are correct.